Good evening, one and all. Welcome along to Season 3, Episode 36 of the UK Dallas Cowboys podcast. Tonight I'm joined by my two Scottish compatriots, Lauren and Paul, and by the man in Yorkshire himself, and let's hope his internet connection holds up long enough for him to actually say hello, Jamie.
To be fair, Bryce, sometimes you don't have a right saying that, because sometimes yours can go that way as well.
Talk about
I'm going to get my licks in while I can. But how are we all doing, folks?
I'm good. I'm just happy the fact that we know exactly who we're playing. I know exactly what time we're playing that. And we just need to be sure that we're no longer in regular season mode. We're now in playoff mode. Every game is filled down to the bone, smash their face in, pretty much.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it was good that we went out on a high, with a record-setting performance. Even if it was against scrubs, you got to go against who you're facing, and for God's sakes, there'd be a hell of a lot of people in uproar if we only put 20 on them, and only just one. And it could have been worse. We could have been Chargers fans. And hoping.
Oh, yeah. I'd hate to be a Chargers fan right now. I really would. I completely agree. Like it's kind of funny. Like back in the pre-game show, me and Big Game were thinking about the scoreline, and I was saying 17-10, and he was saying 20-13, and both of us were like, well, I'm happy. He's happy. The fact that it doesn't matter if it's against Scrubs or not, but the fact is it's a divisional rival. We're 6-0 in the NFC East. No one in our division has any right to say and slag us off. They have no right, because for how bad their teams are doing. Like, you've got the Washington Copycats, you've got the New York Giants, which just completely went clean house. They finally got rid of David Gettleman, which, in all fairness to the Giants, that's actually probably a good thing for them. Who knows? But Eagles will be Eagles. Their fans are trash, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I'm enough stating the facts here.
Absolutely. So, Jamie, how was the game in London on Sunday, seeing as we didn't hear from you all Saturday night?
All I'm going to say is that. That's all I'm going to say. We'll get it out there early, shall we?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But look, as always, folks, get plenty of your comments in and let us know what your thoughts were. We have a few hot takes tonight. There is there are some things bubbling under the collar for a lot of us, which we will get into. But look, let us know your thoughts. Let us know your studs and duds from the game. Let us know what your thoughts are on our playoff match coming up this weekend. Obviously, Mike and the guys will be along on
Thursday
evening for the show. And now Valenti, behave. But I was just thinking, guys, as I was doing up the stats for the show today, this is actually our first time in the 3 years of this show where we are talking about a Week 17 game and we're talking about playoffs. How does that feel?
Well, it's a week 18, if you want to be specific.
That's fair, Lauren. That is fair.
Lauren's right, because we still had the bye week. So
yeah.
And I saw something this week. There was an NFL UK email that came out advertising, obviously, what was on Game Pass. It said first time ever there was a Week 18. And I'm thinking, well, actually, there was 2 bye weeks in the 1993 season that made it 18 weeks as well. And I felt like throwing them up on that. Because actually, literally 2 days later, they posted about Emmitt Smith running with the ball with his separated shoulder to beat the Giants, and that was in Week 18 of the 1993 season. So,
he went for 200 yards in that game, Lauren, didn't he?
Oh, I
or close to it.
239. I think it was all-purpose yards. Or
it was absolutely nuts. Just
Sorry,
no, Andy. No.
I don't know. I don't know. Like, if we
I will never do that. Never.
Yeah.
I would prefer to go back to Tampa Bay and kick their asses.
Yep.
I will never cheer for that team. I won't even mention their names. So, no, that's not happening.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a Brian fired up. Brian's fired up.
Absolutely. But look, yeah, it is. Look, it's great. It's great to be that we have playoffs coming up, and just the point there that Craig is making, that glad we got the 49ers instead of the Cards. Can't wait. I wouldn't agree with that.
What?
Am I the only one that wouldn't agree with that?
But I
would have taken anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would.
We played Tampa Bay already. It wasn't too good against the Cardinals, but we knew what we were facing. Like you say, we need to get more pressure on Kyler Murray, and Jimmy G essentially can be an interception time bomb, and so can Matt Stafford. So the one team that we don't really want to play is the team that we'd have to face in the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, and which is quite good for us. If we were to win all of our games, the next time we would actually meet Green Bay, if things would go in that trajectory, would be the NFC Championship. That would be it.
Yeah.
So, see where it came to, when we draw the 49ers, I'm like, you know what? It'll be an interesting game, but I'm not so much worried about the game. I'm more worried about the turnout that's going to happen in Cowboys Stadium.
That's true.
Because I don't know about you guys, but every time 49ers come over to Dash, they show up every time. And not just me notice this, but all the other content creators, from Brandon to J-Tuck to Nix to everybody, were making the comments like that. If Cowboys fans are selling their tickets to like random people, why the hell are you not going to this game? Why not? Like, you should be going there, going to this game and cheering your boys. But it comes to the actual game itself, I'm feeling pretty confident, if I'm being perfectly honest. Like, the only thing I'm kind of worried about is their front seven. That's the only thing I'm worried about. Like, I think in terms of their secondary, I think there's holes that can definitely do stuff on. But we'll cover that. We'll cover that a lot more going down the line for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We'll kind of discuss that Thursday.
I mean, just to piggyback on what Paul was saying about the 49ers traveling. 49ers were playing in the Rams Stadium on Sunday there, and
they were loud. We saw.
I saw a number of tweets where it was just a sea of red. I mean, there must have been over 50% of the crowd was wearing red there on Sunday night. So, they do travel well, and this is a game that obviously.
It's a classic. It's a classic matchup. Like it goes back to the era of the 90s when you had Dion playing for San Francisco, Jerry Rice was playing and stuff like that, and we had Irvin, Smith, and Aitman. It kind of goes back to that, but it's not. Well, the matchup is a classic, but I wouldn't say the lineup is a classic when you compare the two teams, like from those eras to now. Like, I would say we have the more talent in the team, but you don't know what's going to happen. Like, it's any given Sunday.
Yeah. Look, not to get too far off track, because as we say, the guys will be talking about this on Thursday evening's show. Kind of to recap what happened at the weekend. We beat that team at their dump. We beat them 51-26. We finished 12-5 on the season. We won the NFC East, number 3 ranked team. And the one thing 6-0 on the NFC East. The one thing I had to laugh when I was doing these stats, they said there was a full capacity crowd at the game. Now, I mean, I could see thousands and blocks of empty seats, but they said they had a full house.
Yeah, but apparently the Eagles fans went dressed as seesaw, and that's what I heard.
No, I'll tell you, Brian, and this is not fat shaming, but one Eagle fan can fit up to 2 seats. That's what they call dirty birds. So they like the cheesesteak. So sorry, but it's true.
It's very, very true. But as we say, yes, look, there you go. We know Mike is there in the background and sending us in the comments. But as we say, your comments, your interaction, get them into us. We will pull up everything we can. We'll discuss things as we go through the program. And as always, you are our MVPs, folks. Without you, we're 4 guys here just chatting amongst ourselves and what we thought on the game. And I'm sure we're all sick of hearing each other's opinions from the weekend at this stage.
Yeah, I need to bring up Benny's comment as well.
Yeah, go for it there, Bob.
Thanks, Benny, for yourself and everybody else, from DJ Doll to Valenti, everybody, and
Austin Powers.
Austin, everybody, it's came on the show, everyone brand new. I could go through all the names. I'm trying to I'm trying to see how, also Joe from Italy, Andy, Craig, the list goes on and on. You guys are the MVPs of the show. If it wasn't for you guys, we, like Brian's just saying, we're just four regular guys talking about the show.
Yeah, absolutely. But before we go much further, let's break it down and let's talk. So, coming out of the weekend, obviously we rested a couple of players. We had a couple of players on COVID, so you can see there that we did secure the 3 seed. So the injury updates that I've seen is we've added Kai Forbat to our practice squad.
Am I the one that's so happy about that?
Oh no, definitely. I mean, this is a time we need a trusted kicker, and obviously Fassel was talking yesterday. I don't know if you've caught the
I saw it, and I'm sorry, but I'm shocked by that statement. If I'm being perfectly honest.
Yeah.
It's till now that you just realised. Come on.
Yeah.
Oh. But
and
anyway,
he's undergoing. He's going to do some psychological stuff this week to try and get him to stop thinking about everything, so that he can just focus on doing his job. So, that just seems a bit.
What does Greg Sutherland need? Actual stereo foam headphones to cancel the noise when he's doing a kick? I mean, what else does he need? I understand the pressures of a kicker, and yes, kickers are people. I get that, and you need a tremendous leg to kick the ball from over 50 yards, the amount of torque and power in that. But come on. It's when it comes when it comes to the longer field goals, Greg's great, but it seems to be the more easier opportunities, from extra points to 25-yard field goals, 29-yard. You're ones he should be making easily, just like that. It should be drilled in, and and Greg, and if he's been playing and. We've always said this here in UK Cowboys: if you're injured, don't play. Get someone else in, because then there's that risk. And if Greg's been injured all this whole time and he's cost us a few games, I would not want him on that starting. I would not want him on the field against the 49ers. I'm sorry, I'm pure going off on a tangent here, but
no, totally okay. Makes total sense. As we said, there was a few guys missed out on Saturday, rested sort of COVID just in case. So we do expect Tyron Smith, Micah Parsons, Trayvon Diggs, and Donovan Wilson will all be back on Sunday. We will also have, sorry, who is the other one? Yeah.
David.
Yeah, absolutely. Blake Jarwin actually made his comeback against that team on Saturday night and looked reasonably good. So that always helps. The team on Saturday also set multiple different records, not just Cowboys records, NFL records, and I think it's time we gave this team a bit of appreciation for what they've done during this season.
Absolutely.
They have had 22 players score a touchdown, which is an NFL record. As you can see there, Corey Clement, Ito Smith and Jaquan Hardy added to the 19 who'd already scored. Dak broke the single season passing record in 16 games, folks, not 17. And we were the first team to ever have a 4,000-yard passer, a 1,000-yard rusher, a 1,000-yard receiver, a defensive player with 10 sacks, and a defensive player with 10-plus interceptions. And yet, people are still complaining.
I mean, I can understand why, because the Eagles, it was a second team. But what you just stated there, Brian, like, my only, like, so what came from, before we were talking about the pregame, when it came to the Eagles, it was more so, do we play our starters? And my answer was yes. We need to play them because of the slump of that Cardinals game that we had. We need to get them back into back in that mindset of that moving the ball forward, try and get Zeke into that momentum going forward. And we saw that from Zeke. We saw that from Dak. We saw that from a variety of players. Dalton Schultz, again, like, he was there. Like, he was a wee bit incognito for the past couple of weeks, to be perfectly honest. But we finally saw the offense. Like, you can call it against the B team, whatever. You call it as you want. It's still a rival game. I don't care how you want to sugarcoat it or not. There should be no complaining of it. Like, the fact is, like if you want to moan at someone, moan at the Eagles. Like, would you really want the Eagles to have their best players on the field? Hell no. You want to absolutely go to their field and smash their face in every single time with your best players available. And I don't care if they're backups or not. Make them pay for it. Yeah. Make them pay. That's just me.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Jamie,
even defensively, we did start some of our young guys. I mean, Nashawn Wright, Kelvin Joseph, they got fairly extensive work. That's great, because that means, should the worst come to the worst, and we need injury cover during the playoffs, these guys aren't coming in and looking like deer in the headlights. The intensity between regular season and postseason stuff is that much. It's another level up. So these guys, if they were deer in the headlights in a regular season game, to go to a postseason game and make your first start, that would be quite some feat. You only have to look at, obviously 40 years ago, the catch with Everson Walls. Everson Walls had the 11 interceptions that season, but he, even if you listen to Mick Shots, he'll tell you the postseason was a completely different. It was a step up for him and the guys in that, and obviously, hopefully we get some revenge for 40 years ago, but
Go on, Jamie. You're itching there, eh?
No, I was just listening to what Lon was saying, but like you say, it's like certain teams in the Premier League. I mean, fans are never happy, but
that's true.
The best way to think about it is you've gone into the playoffs on the back of it wasn't even a big win. You went into the backyard of your most hated rivals, give them an ass spanking, but on a 50 burger in their own backyard the week before the playoffs with your stars. Like lots of some of the younger players, some of the backups got in and performed, got some yards, got some vital snaps. What more could you ask for? And like Paul said, you don't care if they put their second team out. Everyone despises the Eagles. They got their asses handed to them. that puts them on a downer coming into their game for the playoffs. So that hopefully helps them get another spanking this week. And we go in on the back of a massive win that this team really needed. It needed a dominating win last week because nothing. A shocking performance would have been the worst way to go into the playoffs.
Absolutely. And this kind of leads up to the comment from Valenti I want to bring up, and we can talk about how amazing the stats are and whatever. But I do tend to agree with Valenti Senior. I would take a Super Bowl all over stats any given day, and I totally agree. But at the same time, we still need to kind of appreciate for what the offense has done. But at the same time, the main goal is get past 49ers, get past whoever the next person is, and get our way to that Super Bowl and get that sixth ring.
You just look in the off season. No one does an America's game. How would you call it? Documentary. That's it. An America's game documentary on teams that played well. The America's game is done on the team that wins the Super Bowl. If the Cowboys played 17 regular season games and played absolutely dog crap in every single one of them and went on to win the Super Bowl, who cares? Like you say, at the end of the day, you play to win a championship. You don't go out there to play nice and play eye-catching football. You go out there to win. Who gives a shit? If you could play eye-catching football and go 0-17, does it matter? No.
Listen, I think we might have another controversial comment, and I think this kind of follows up to what Andy was saying in regards to the Eagles. If we want them to beat Tampa, it's like, so we can beat them, shut up their mouth. But here's the thing, though, that all depends on the Rams and Cardinals game as well. Like whoever that last seed is. In fact, actually, I'm just trying to think. Actually, the Eagles are the last seed.
Eagles are 7. So if they knock out Tampa Bay,
they're playing Green Bay. So we are not going to play them. So that kind of defeats the logic behind that, does it not? Am I right? If Tampa wins, then obviously they don't play. It's all based on 4th, 5th, and 7th rankings. So that's Rams, Cardinals, and Eagles.
Basically, the Green Bay play the lowest ranked
so it'll be,
winner of the wild card rounds.
So it's those 3 teams. So we like if Philly was to win against Tampa, and God, I hope they don't, we won't be playing them. It will be Green Bay, and it's either Cardinals, Rams, or Eagles. That's the teams that Green Bay will be matched up against.
Yeah, absolutely. But point we kind of have in there in terms of, as we say, the stats, and like, look, none of us are saying just because we've done all these amazing things on the stat sheet that's great. We still all, at the end of the day, care about winning matches and would forgo all of that. But you still need to take the time to appreciate what we've done. And as we say, a 4,000-yard passer, a 1,000-yard rusher, a 1,000-yard receiver, guy with 10 plus sacks, guy with 10 plus interceptions. It's never been done before. You know, that needs to be recognized.
Yeah, but then, and not to kind of be the miserable one in the room, but if we don't get past this week, then what does it matter? And I'm not saying that those stats aren't something to look back on, but would you rather have all those stats and not go to the Super Bowl, or have none of them in the top 10 and go as far as we can, like I say? No, it sounds really miserable. And it's nice to see that we've got these stats, but if we go out this weekend, it don't really give a shit, does it? The season's over and it's a long all season, and then what we're doing on this program is from next week. We're talking about the draft.
But we're not going out this weekend, Jamie.
Oh yeah, but you know what I mean. It's like let's just I mean it's all good and well, but I'd rather I'd trade those stats for a long playoff.
No, absolutely. I don't think anyone would disagree with you on that at all. It's just maybe taking, a little bit of perspective and going, hey, like the two things don't have to be mutually exclusive. We can have all those stats and still make a long playoff run. That's all we want to see. You know, I get your point that you're making in terms of it doesn't mean much if we go out on on Sunday. We're not going to go out on Sunday. We're going to win. It's as simple as that.
Oh yeah, I think we're going to win, but
yeah.
Right? Can I so I just want to reiterate.
Jump in, Paul.
I just want to reiterate the playoff picture here. So as it stands, right? So we've got obviously number 1 seed Packers 2, Bucks, Cowboys 3, Rams 4. So that's your top 4 who won the conferences. So 5, 6, and 7, Cardinals, 49ers, and Eagles, right? So in this scenario, right, obviously, the Green Bay Packers will get the lowest ranked team that's actually won their game, like going through past the wild card. So even if the Eagles win, they're playing Green Bay. We are not playing the Eagles by any means.
Yeah.
Right. So if the 49ers win, no 49ers, if the Cardinals win and beats the Rams, and then if Bucks beat the Eagles, then it's Cardinals versus Green Bay. Like, I'm just trying to like rough edge all the different scenarios, but either way, we have no way of matching up with the Eagles in the playoffs, unfortunately, which I would love at the same time, because we can put a second beatdown on them, but it's not the case.
Hold on, Paul. We could host them in the NFC Championship game.
Yep.
Oh no!
You're asking. You're asking a lot.
No, I am not accepting.
You're asking a whole lot. We could.
What you're saying is a fact. Yes, true. That in theory that could happen, but I am not buying it. I am not buying the Eagles to even pass the first round. I think Tom Brady will smash them left, right, and center. I really do.
You know what? As much as we all think it's going to happen, I think last week proved that the NFL, you cannot guarantee anything. Everybody thought that the Colts were going to absolutely spank the Jags and make the playoff. And the Colts got turned over. So as much as I agree, I never say never.
Yeah. Any given Sunday.
I still cannot believe the Colts did not make the playoffs. That is shocking.
And let's not forget, we were seconds away from the Steelers being out of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like, the only result that could have taken the Steelers out of the playoffs was a tie, and we were seconds away from it. So anything can happen in this league, folks.
And if only the Chargers coach hadn't called a timeout.
Yeah.
I cannot stand the Steelers as well.
That's it. Oh, DJ Dog, I absolutely love this comment.
Do you know, when you mentioned that, I'd seen somebody, I can't remember who tweeted it, saying that Carson Wentz is essentially Baker Mayfield without the endorsements.
I thought he was Baker Mayfield with ginger hair.
Yeah, you could look at it that way,
yeah.
Both have no talent.
Ooh, yeah, especially, I mean, one of them comes from a crappy university.
I was going to say both of them did.
Yeah, true, actually. But saying that, though, I mean, at least a decent wide receiver came from that university.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Gotta throw that back in
decent quarterback came from that school as well. Won us 3 Super Bowls.
Yep.
It depends how you want to play that one.
He did have,
technically no.
California first.
Technically no. We'll let you have it on a technicality, Brian.
I know. But look, we're half an hour into the program and we are in the weeds. So let's move it over and let's actually talk a bit about the game on Sunday. So let's flip it over to. So offensively, a 50 burger was raised. How do you feel about that? And especially given what had happened the previous week.
I will say it is an improvement. I still say that we could still done a lot more damage with that like early on in the game, I felt as though we were still a little bit rough on the edges in the first half. But when it came to the third quarter, and then when Cap came off, it's like it was like a free for all pretty much. But I will say it is an improvement. There are still things I think we'll still need to adjust and fix, especially in the offensive line, which is something we've all talked about all season. But overall, I'm happy and content, but I'm more I'm trying to find the right word here. Not worried, but I'm just I'm feeling a wee bit apprehensive to how we're going to approach when it comes to this 49ers front seven, if you know.
Yeah. I mean, Milton Williams was looking like Fletcher Cox out there at points, and I think he is going to be a good player in this league. But you know, some of the things he was doing against, I think he was also up. Well, I think by the time he was in, it was McGovern that he was playing left guard. Sorry, no, right guard.
No, right guard,
right guard. And you know, he was manhandling McGovern, which you know is a bit of a concern. And you know, even in the first half, I think Dak was running around quite a bit. He was having to keep mobile. You know, the pressure was coming as well. But I mean, the fact that Zeke looked, you know, Zeke had a 26-yarder. Zeke looked as if he had that burst. You know, if that had been a game that we needed to win, and you know we needed to put the ball in Zeke's hands, that I think he would have gone over 100 yards, no problem. I mean, especially if you saw the way that obviously Ito Smith and Corey Clement and Jaquan Hardy were running as well. I mean, you know, that 22-yarder from Jaquan Hardy to become the 22nd player. I mean, I thought that that was quite good. That, you know, the amount of yards matched the number of players that scored a TD. But you know, it's certainly promising. And hopefully, you know, one of the goals that the offense had was to come in and look sharp. And you know, they certainly did that. Yeah, okay. Again, quality of the competition, you know, but it's not like you can go and say, it's not like Madden where you can go and say, right, I'm going to play the 49ers this week, or I'm going to go up against an all-star team or anything like that. You have to play what's in front of you. We did that. We were crisp. There were a few question mark calls, but you know, in general, we came out. The only potential injuries we have is Keanu Neal, but you know, everybody got playing time. You know, everybody got to sharpen their skills, and I think you know we should feel that the confidence is there for going into next week.
Yeah, I think as well it shows that we've got depth there. Yeah, a lot of people, like, if you look at the kind of the stats for CeeDee Lamb and for
that play from Lamb is fantastic.
From Amari Cooper, it shows that if this week the Niners double team those guys, that we know that Cedric Wilson is going to be a dependable, reliable option. I mean, he smashed it this week. 119 yards for 2 touchdowns, targeted 6 times and 5 receptions. So I mean, that's wide receiver 1 stuff, is that? So you know you've got that, and then Long just touched it there. I mean, Clement, Hardy, Smith, they all got in on the act, got some big yards. Zeke looked like the old Zeke, and just to touch on Hardy, it's one of them. I mean, he's in that position of the team that snaps are going to be few and far between, and the run for his touchdown was immense. That probably got him an extra couple of snaps this week. So if the Niners want to take out Zeke out of the game, want to take out our top 2 receivers, we're going to have a lot of players that are going to be able to handle the rock and get some good yards and get us in some good field positions.
Yeah. And just want to bring up a point, and I know this is going to look like, Joe, we're jumping on you again, and we're not. That, not complaining about 50 points, but we did score against their backups. Our last 3 touchdowns were pretty much our backups against their backups. So it's not really a fair comparison to make. Yes, Dak did his thing in the first half, and we were 30 points up at the half. But as the guys have kind of said, Corey Clement came in, had a big bust and run. Ito Smith came in, got his touchdown. Jaquan Hardy came in, big bust and run as well, and got his touchdown. So that's our 3rd, 4th, and 5th choice running backs getting in for touchdown.
Don't forget, Brian, the first time we played the Eagles, we won 41-21. Like we even smashed them even back at home as well, and that was when they had the full-on team as well. So any way we can shape this is like any of our divisional rivals have no say. Like even if they had backups, they didn't have the quarterback. Like I'm sorry, but they had excuses. Like for the majority, we didn't have that Dak last year, but we still tried to compete. I think so. Well, I'm maybe not making a fair comparison. I don't know if I'm making a fair comparison here, but the point is like throughout the whole year, we've just completely decimated our rivals. That's the end game,
Yep.
Yeah, 100%. It's like that Bill Belichick thing. Do your job. Everybody to a man on Saturday night did their job. They did what they were supposed to. When they got their touches, they took advantage. And we cannot leave Saturday's game without talking about Cedric Wilson. As Jamie said, 5 from 6, 119 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's our wide receiver 4. And that is the numbers he's putting up. Schultz came in and did his thing.
I find that quite funny that you just mentioned Bill Belichick and his whole mantra when it comes to the Patriots is do your job. It seems like ever since Belichick came out with that, and this is the comparison. Like this is not against us as Cowboys fans, but with Patriots fans towards their team, they don't care who scores the touchdown. They don't care about the stats or whatever and that, or don't like whatever and that. They just want the win. Whereas, like for us, stats are cool and stuff like that, but it's more like we are more thinking about the bigger picture quite a lot. And sometimes, don't get me wrong, I get way too ahead of myself sometimes. So, but I think what I'm trying to say is like, if we were to kind of take that same approach to our franchise, maybe we won't be so harsh on them. That's what I'm trying to say,
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, it obviously gives us a dilemma. We talked last week about Michael Gallup going down injured. He's a free agent next season. Cedric Wilson's a free agent next season. Noah Brown's a free agent next season.
I'll tell you something.
Dalton Schultz. We have got a lot of decisions to make.
Well, I'll tell you what, Lauren, I am more worried of losing Cedric Wilson than I am Michael Gallup now.
Yeah.
Because obviously with the injury and stuff like that, but I'm more worried about, but like from that, even it just takes one game to really stand out from the crowd, and Cedric was on fire in that game.
Yeah.
Like he looked like a number 2 wide receiver in that team. He really did.
It has a little bit of a Miles Austin feel, don't you think? I say
that's a great comparison.
It feels like.
That's a great. I generally did kind of feel like that. Yeah.
Like to be fair to Wilson, he's been doing it all year. Yeah. He has come up clutch in so many big occasions this year. So
that's the flip side then, because
very underappreciated.
Because teams are going to struggle to take these wide receivers out of the game. Say if you put Cedric Wilson, CeeDee Lamb, and Amari Cooper on the field at the same time, plus you've got Ezekiel Elliott in the backfield. Teams can't take all 4 of them out of the game. One of those 4 is going to be open. And
you also have Dalton Schultz as well.
Yeah.
So
and
it's pick your poison.
And not just that, Cedric can throw the ball.
Yeah.
There we go. I think Cedric has a perfect quarterback rating this season.
Yeah.
This season,
How's that Cedric Wilson throwing a TD on this weekend?
Oh God,
Jamie, behave.
Nah, we're saving that for Super Bowl, and it'll be the Dallas. It will be the Dallas special, no doubt. Knowing Kellen Moore, like, and fingers crossed, knock on wood, we get to the Super Bowl. I can see there's going to be some, and this is me being my conspiracy theorist once again. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I noticed there was a lot more diverse plays being used against the Eagles, a lot more experimentation. And this kind of backs up my theory. It's like there's been certain games where we're not showing our card to defenses, and it's cost us. It's like we're sticking to our very basic, doing the same repetitive thing over and over in terms of our series of 3 and out, whatever, and stuff like that. But when it really came to, like, just even that game that did not even matter, it's like we were throwing some really fun, like, really nice football and offensive steam, and I'm just wondering, it's like, is this what we're coming to? It's like, are we really saving the really good stuff against the playoffs? I don't know, but it's worth talking about, you know.
Do you know what? You're probably right. And just to flip back to kind of which Super Bowl was it now?
Dog, I will take that bet. Sorry, Jamie. I'll take that bet. Honestly, dog, I am with you on that 100%. I am, yeah. Like, sign me up to that.
I think would it be the Super Bowl win over the Bills, and I think Jimmy Johnson said, didn't he, that I think he'd just been watching some random news channel, and they've been doing the shuffle pass, and they'd not played it all year. So teams definitely do it, Paul. I agree there. Teams definitely do it. They've held some stuff back, and it's on purpose, like you say, because you want, like you say, now you're in one and done mode. So you've got to bring something a little bit fruity to the table.
Because the reason I say this, and Lauren, I'm pretty sure you can back me up on this. Like, see, when it, like, because me and Lauren played for our respective teams, Edinburgh and East Kilbride. But when we start off with a basic package, and as the season goes along, you bring new installs into your offense or new defensive schemes to kind of, like, based on, like, schemes of who you're playing against and whatever than that, and try and like expand your offensive horizons. And I find that's what might be the case in this scenario, where, like, they're doing all these nice plays in practice, but they're not showing it out on the main public yet till it's really necessary. So, and I don't know, like, I'm pure, like, my cogs are turning, like, left, right, and center. I'm just like, I want to believe that's the case, but at the same time, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, you look at the Cowboys Super Bowls in the 70s, and there was always, at least, you know, Tom Landry used to go for exotics all the time. I mean, Robert Newhouse throwing a touchdown pass on a fullback option in Super Bowl 12. You've got the shotguns, the Butch Johnson catch that, you know, probably wouldn't have been ruled a catch nowadays. Scored in that game as well. You know, there's all sorts of things, and it as Paul says, you set things up by getting the basics set up. We used to run a counter tray run, and by the end of the season, guys were seeing that, you know, they could almost tell when we were going to run that. So we then brought in something that gave them the look that we were going to run that.
The same scheme, but you run a different play from that.
We ran a pass off that. So obviously that then brings your defense up, going, all right, they're going to run this, bring the safety up for
and you're like,
run support, and there you go. And you know, that got our wide receiver sneaking right through past the safety. And, you know, we got touchdowns off of that. So,
Everybody is calling their shot tonight. Valenti has just come in with a Dak to Wilson.
Hey,
Wilson
I'll take that too.
Touchdown.
Why not? I'll take that too.
You can see what we want. We want this kind of confidence from everybody going into this weekend.
I think when it comes
You
to
said the C word.
Yeah, confidence is on par.
It's on par, not high yet.
Don't
not high yet.
say the C word.
Which C word are you talking
gotten
about?
us into trouble before.
Never mind, Jimmy. Never mind. But yeah, like when it comes to
that was Graham that kept on saying that in that particular episode.
Yeah, in all fairness, it was mostly Graham that kept mostly saying that one line, and then Mike tried to make me say it, and when I said it, that's when it really fell apart. Yeah, and then it started at Kansas, and it started in Thanksgiving, so that's why we completely ditched it. Dan Reeves,
Dan Reeves passed away last week, so great memory there that he did throw the fullback touchdown to Lance Rensel in the Ice Bowl game.
Ralph Neely also passed away this week as well. He was a great offensive lineman in the 70s and early 80s, I think.
So just to go back on a point there that Jamie kind of mentioned earlier on, and Joe was kind of brought it up here. So it'd be nice if Zeke had a fullback like Moose Johnson blocking like he had for Emmett. And it's one thing I've noticed in recent weeks with Zeke. He's getting to the line and he's just about to go through and someone is getting a hand on the back of a jersey or something like that. How close do you think is he to busting a 50 or 60 yard house run?
By size of a ball hair, pretty much.
Yeah.
And this is where I keep saying this. Like, as much as I love, like, he's a fan favorite within UK Cowboys. I would love to bring back Keith Smith as our fullback. I really would. I don't know about you guys, because he really complemented our offense and complemented Dak and Zeke and gave that extra dimension when it comes to the run game. And when it comes to his blocking scheme, he could hit like a truck. Like you're seeing the result of that with Patterson with the Falcons right now because of Keith Smith.
There were a lot of surprise when that move happened, because I can't remember who it is that we brought in, but the contract wise, they were essentially the same contracts. But I think Keith Smith was a little bit younger. Like I say, he was playing well. He converted from linebacker.
Olawale, that's it. I knew he played for the Raiders. Yeah,
there was a lot of surprise. So I'm surprised that it happened, and I definitely would be on that train with Paul to get him back in, because he's done well. He's played the other side of the ball, so he knows how to go through and help to create a lot of holes.
And just to kind of iterate how important fullbacks are as well, as 49ers will show us what a fullback looked like, and that's what's his name, Juricic? How do you pronounce his name? Juszczyk. Like don't get me wrong, he is not like a Mike Alshot or whatever, but he's still a good, decent fullback. He does exactly what he's supposed to do in terms of his job role. He does his job very well, but
and he is useful coming out of the backfield as well, catching the odd pass in the flat as well and taking it up the field. So
the odd wee screen pass from him as well.
Like, without getting into too much detail about Sunday's game, like, we're talking about Juszczyk, we can talk about Deebo Samuel coming out of the backfield, and yet you can be sure Kyle Shanahan will probably pull someone like Jeff Wilson.
I know.
You just never know with who he's going to play out of the backfield.
I know. We keep diverting away for next week because we're just that excited. We're that excited.
Yeah. But another guy going to give. Well, sorry. Before we do get off Zeke, another point that came up in another record that we had. Zeke has now played 6 seasons in the NFL and has had 1,250 yards from scrimmage in each of the 6 seasons. Sonny himself and LaDainian Tomlinson have done that. You know, I mean, for all the flack that a lot of this support base gives to Zeke, He's still done that in
recently,
6 seasons.
Yeah,
I think he's still the best blocking running back in this league.
Absolutely, Brian. Like when it comes to pass protection, I still think he's the best pass protecting running back. Like it's not all about rushing; it's all about protecting your quarterback as well. And if that's one thing Zeke does, he knows how to make a good bloody block. Like for a guy his size. But it's funny that you mentioned that. Like it seems to be ever since Zeke signed the contract, his new contract, it seems like okay, justify it. It seems to be, you know what I mean? It seems to be that.
Valenti, I'm afraid I disagree with you this year. Yeah,
I don't think you're going to get a lot of people disagreeing with you here, Valenti.
Do you know
1,000-yard rushing season, 13 touchdowns this season. I'm sorry, you really need to go back and look at it.
I can understand why he might say it. He might not be looking. He's not getting the long 25-yard plus rushes that we're used to seeing, but he is literally breaking down defenses, and that to me is more effective.
And there's my point. There's the point I was going to make. He's still averaging over 4 yards a carry, and there are a lot of backs in this league that would love to have that sort of average. And I mean, if you look at the number,
we love you, Valenti, but we have to disagree on that one, my friend.
You look at the number of 1,000-yard receivers, 1,000-yard rushers this year. It's an all-time low. So much so that Derek Henry, who hasn't played week 8, has 935 yards and is in the top 10 for rushing this year.
Yeah,
I mean that just goes to show how much of a passing league this has become.
Yeah.
And just to back up Lauren's point here, Cooper Kupp, he's just short of 2,000 yards.
Yeah.
Like, I mean...
And go on, Jamie.
You know what?
Take it away.
I just literally looked at his rushing stats for his entire career.
Yeah.
And when you sit there and you look and you go, he's had a bit of an off season. He had a bit of off season the other year. He's played 6 seasons in the NFL as Zeke. He's rushed for more than 1,000 yards 4 of those times.
Yeah.
And the other 2 times were just shy of 1,000.
And one of those he was playing for 4 games.
And he had 1631, 983, 1434, 1357, 976, 979, and he's just broke just over 1,000 this year. That's even if he has an off season, he's still hitting pretty much 1,000 yards a season.
Yeah,
like I can understand why people might be criticizing Zeke this year. Like he may not look the same, but like I said, like it's been a different. If you want to blame someone, blame it in our offensive coordinator. If that's the case, why is he not getting as many carries? If he was getting more carries, he actually might have been getting more yards as well.
Yeah.
And
so, if I just jump in here, Paul, just for a second, and Andy, I'm not having a go at you when I say this, right? That he's not Derrick Henry. Zeke is not Derrick Henry. If you look, they did actually pull up a stat on this year, or on Saturday night, and said that Zeke's carries this year were about 240, right?
Yeah.
Derrick Henry carries the ball nearly 400 times a year. So no, you're not comparing like Derrick Henry doesn't have a Tony Pollard, a thunder and lightning effect at running back. Derrick Henry is the offense of the Tennessee Titans. So it's not really fair to say he's no Derrick Henry because you're not comparing like when you make that comparison.
And just throw it out, if you look at all the different running backs in the league, Saquon Barkley injured, not the same player. Is Derrick Henry going to be the same player now? He's had this injury, maybe not. The Panthers, Christian McCaffrey, arguably top 3 running back in the league. Apparently, he's on the block this year.
Yeah.
Now, if these all pro, these amazing running backs, you don't put him on the block. You build your team on him. Zeke's been the offense has been built around Zeke and his strengths from day one. Zeke's never been anywhere close to the block, even when he had all this off-field issues. Derrick Henry's a brilliant running back, but I would still take Zeke over Derrick Henry just because Zeke is a more well-rounded player on rushing and in receiving.
See, I'm the same.
Andy's come back with this, and I would say that our offense has changed considerably in the years that Zeke has been in the league. I mean, we've gone from Linehan's offense, which was, particularly back in those days as well, we still had running game Moses as our offensive line coach. And, the focus there for Jason Garrett was obviously establish the run, get the pass off the back of that. This has completely changed, and this is more of a Kellen Moore, a Mike McCarthy offense. Mike McCarthy's running backs. Yes, Aaron Jones always, or whoever was the Green Bay running back, always seemed to pick on our defense and always seemed to put up rushing yardage in those games against us. But I mean, other than that, their offensive game was always pass, and use the running backs catching passes out of the backfield, more like the West Coast style of offense that it has been in the in McCarthy's breeding throughout the coaching.
Well,
do you know what would be a good stat to look at?
Go on, Jamie. I'll bring you in a sec, Paul.
All right.
I was just saying, what would be a good stat to look at is how many times teams in the league have had 3 legitimate receivers that could be on one roster that could be a wide receiver 1 in any other team in the league, and the running back has still broke 1,000 yards. I bet there's not many in history. That's what the Cowboys had this year. Could say they had it last year, and they almost broke 1,000 yards last year.
Yeah, Paul, go on, take it away.
You can talk about Zeke and stuff like that. There's been a lot of surprise elements who the Russian leaders are. There's been running backs that should have done better, that haven't performed. And one name is standing in my mind is one player you would expect to be brilliant this year would have been Alvin Kamara. And he's not really produced. I'm literally looking at the Russian stats right now. So you've got Jonathan Taylor, Nick Chubb, Joe Mixon, Najee Harris, Dalvin Cook, Antonio Gibson, then Zeke at number 7. So Zeke is the number 7th ranked running back in the league.
Now, Paul, if I ask you a question, if you can see this on the stats that are there, how many carries has each of those players got?
Over 200.
I'm guessing most of those guys carried over 300 times.
All of them carried more than Big Bow.
Yeah.
Zeke has definitely got the least. Jonathan Taylor has got the most by, hold on, let me just reiterate that statistic.
Yeah.
So Chubb with 228.
So Jonathan Taylor, 332. Najee Harris is second with 307. Joe Mixon, 292. Gibson, 258. Cook, 249. Kamara, 240. He's been the biggest disappointment this year. And Zeke by 237.
Yeah.
And the only person lower attempts that's actually higher. Exactly. Nick Chubb is probably the one that's actually exceeded expectations this year.
Yeah.
And
look,
again, he's got the 1-2, but he's got the 1-2 punch of Kareem Hunt as well. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to pull up a point here because I think Lloyd makes this quite well. Kamara would have been better this season if he still had Drew Brees and Michael Thomas in the team, which he didn't have. Teams loaded the box against Kamara. So
it's a team game. It's a team game. It's a team game.
At the end of the day, I still wouldn't swap Zeke for any of those guys for the simple fact, if you look at the Isaiah Simmons strip sack and fumble last week against Dak, if Zeke hadn't have been there, Dak was dead. Simmons was coming that far, and no other running back in the league could have picked up that block. None. Absolutely none of them could have done that. But
sorry, Brian.
Go on,
Jamie. But then just looking at all those running backs that finished with stats above Zeke, only one of them had a decent QB.
Yeah.
And that was Najee Harris. Everybody else, it was literally they were the focal point.
Yeah.
So Jonathan Taylor, the focal point in Indy. Nick Chubb, focal point in Cleveland. Joe Mixon. Well, actually, that's right, two. Joe Mixon, they had Joe Burrow. So Calvin Cook, Cousins, Antonio Gibson. I mean, even if any of us three might as well played QB for Washington. And so, I mean, there was only two that finished above Zeke in rushing that probably weren't the focal point of their offense.
Yeah. I think that is a point well made in terms of what you're saying, Jamie.
Just one more thing, and this is kind of goes up to we were a running team, what Valentin is saying. For now, I would say we're now turning more into an
more combined, more a well-rounded team.
It's more diverse team. We're if it was under Jason Garrett still, primarily we'd still be running that run first option pretty much.
Yeah.
But I think since McCarthy's came in, and we knew that was going to be the case because McCarthy's always been more of a quarterback passing offense in terms of when he was at Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers and so. So for me, I wouldn't say we're not that running team anymore, and I think Zeke's kind of accepted that, and he's now taking on that team leadership role. On that, and I would like even though he maybe not be getting all the stats in the world, as long as he's putting point, as long as we're winning games, that's what matters.
So. I think that this is the thing, and this is a great comment from DJ Dog. Is he's a team player. He makes sure Tony Pollard gets his carries. He went and got the balls back for Terrence Steele and Jaquan Hardy when they got their touchdowns. That's what the guy is about. He doesn't care about his stats. He's not looking to pad his stats and do anything. He just wants to win football games, and that's what's most important to Zeke, not anything else.
And I think the biggest fundamental where we've just completely forgotten about is our offensive line. How we talked about our O-line. I've been very well below par this whole season. From Connor Williams, which I'll get to him in a wee second. Again, right, but from missing Tyron Smith for a couple of weeks, then there's Lyle Collins with the whole first 5 games of the season. There's the whole situation with Bayard has been very inconsistent. This is opening a whole new can of worms, but this overall affects the run game. If offensive linemen are not making the proper blocks and making making blocks that they should have been done with ease from their assignment and completely doing the wrong, completely different thing from double blocking and completely missed their different assignment, then you're bound to get your running back hitting at the line of scrimmage. That's all. And there was another point I made there. It's would we trade Zeke for Henry? I would say no, because obviously right now Henry's just coming back from an injury. I'm trying to from general perspective, he's coming back from a massive injury. We don't know what the situation is with Derrick Henry, blah, 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 but I'd still pay, and plus, if we were to try and trade away Zeke, I don't know what I would do in terms of cap or anything like that. I don't know.
Titans will be one and done in the playoffs.
That's a great comment. That's a great comment, Andy.
I just want to make one comment before we move on and talk about the offensive line. one of the reasons Jonathan Taylor this year has performed so well, and Lauren, I think you know where I'm going with this.
O-line.
O-line. How much have Indianapolis invested in first-round picks
Quinton
in
Nelson.
their O-line? Quinton Nelson, the best right guard in the league.
Yeah, he's
Ryan
actually
Kelly,
he's
one of the
above
best
Zach Martin
centers
right
in the
now.
league.
As much as I hate them, as much as I hate to admit that, I love Zach Martin with every inch of my heart. But Quinton Nelson is.
Sorry, Quinton Nelson is the left guard actually. So we can say best
guard.
left guard.
Yeah.
No, I think he's left guard. Is he? Am I wrong?
I'm pretty sure he's right guard.
Wait a minute.
But as you say, it's a catch-em between Quinton Nelson and Zach Martin as being the two best guards in this league. Ryan Kelly is one of the best centers in this league as well. Their tackles are some of the best tackles in this league. They have built themselves up for the run game. We've tore our wall of Dallas down from what it was. So as you can see, Zeke's numbers have gone like this because we have to invest in the O-line. But Jamie, you make your point and then we'll throw it to Paul for the O-line.
I was just going to say that you hit the nail. They are what the Cowboys offense were probably 4 years ago. They are now, that is the best offensive line in this league. If they would have had a decent quarterback, you would argue that they would probably be the favourites to win the Super Bowl this year if they had a quarterback.
They probably need a couple of receivers as well. But Paul, take it away. I know you've been itching to say something about Connor Williams, and I'm going to then tear Tyler Biadasz asunder.
If I see Connor Williams causing one more freaking play that is going to cost us 20 yards upfield when he didn't have to hold or whatever, I'm going to lose my shit. And I'm sorry I'm going to have to use that word there, but Connor Williams is done for me. I have had enough of him. He's cost us so many times throughout the whole season. He cost us not once, but almost twice in that Patriots game. And I'm just like, do we not have any other better option to put in there for a pass potato in the left guard position?
To be fair, Paul, we've tried. I mean, McGovern has shown he can't do it. He got 3 games and didn't do it.
Collins.
Maybe, Jamie, maybe. But I mean, I'm not going to defend Connor Williams when I say the following line as well. Connor Williams is again in a situation where he doesn't know who's playing left tackle, and he doesn't trust his center. Of course, Lloyd's going to say that.
Yeah.
When's the last time that team won a national championship?
Wait, we're not talking college football here.
But this is the thing, right? Connor Williams has had to play with different left tackles each week, and the guy inside of him playing center is not good enough for this team. If this team wants to win a Super Bowl, they need to replace the center. And if you look at the snaps that Matt Farniok played at the weekend, Matt Farniok actually looked
He played
decent.
well. I will give him credit. Matt Farniok actually really impressed me during that game. He really did. He did.
And even with some of the pre-snap reads that he was reading as well, it didn't.
Yeah.
Biadasz always seems to be when he's changing protection, it seems a lot rushed, and you know he's look such and such is moving and all this sort of stuff. Farniok was right. Okay, set the edge there, protections here, and snap the ball. And we were getting a cleaner snap there.
DJ Dog, you've just made my night. So for anyone who doesn't
educate
see
me,
this,
Brian. Educate me.
So DJ Dog's comment is we need to draft that centre from Iowa in the next draft. The man he is talking about is the man I've been on all season, Tyler Linderbaum, who is an absolute animal. He is a beast of a centre from Iowa. He can play. He is a centre. He can also play guard. Dane has him projected in the top 10, which you never hear for a centre. That is how highly rated Dane Brugler has this guy.
I don't want to hear he can also play this. I just want a player that plays a specific position.
Yeah.
And that's it. And that's his core. Like when we start moving players that were supposed to be tackles and moving them into guards, that's exactly what's kind of happened. We're getting mediocre.
Yeah.
Like so.
And this is you can go back to episodes at the very start of the season, and I was calling Tyler Linderbaum as our first round pick. That is the guy I would take, but I don't think he's going to be available to us when we're picking, because I think he will go much higher than that. I think Dane had him as the 7th best player in his top 50.
Wow, that's
so
Dane
that
Brugler.
tells you how good this guy is.
Was that Dane saying that as well?
Dane Brugler said that.
Wow.
It was either 7 or 9, I think. Lauren, you might know.
I'll just open the Athletic quickly, just a minute.
Yeah, but look, we're nearly an hour and 15 minutes.
About the defense shit.
Yeah, so let's flip.
Mike is gonna kill us. All right. Okay. So defense.
So
first drive. I'll say this first drive. God awful. Rest of the game, no complaints. Really, I can't really complain about the rest of the game. But that first drive was god awful.
Yeah, like they needed a serious kick in the pants after that first drive.
Oh, absolutely.
They did turn it around.
Just to say, on our private chat within the Cowboys admins here, Brian was going off on one. He's like, "That was a terrible drive." Ah. And I was like, "Yeah, I completely agree. That was absolutely terrible."
But look, I think the one person that we all want to talk about from Saturday night's game, Kelvin Joseph, and the impressions we've had from him in the last 3 or 4 games. Anyone want to take that one?
Lauren?
I'll go with that. I think he's actually he's stepped up. He's played well. I think he's he could do with getting behind Anthony Brown on using the jugs machine, because he's had a couple of dropped picks this season in the last couple of games. But I mean, I thought he played coverage really well, and I think if he can build on that for next season, our defensive secondary, at least the cornerbacks, are going to be good. We maybe do. Anthony Brown's obviously in the final year of next year of his contract. We could maybe part company with him if we need to. Jordan Lewis, I think, was a bit spotty. So Nashawn Wright, I thought, played well as well. So these guys, that they're coming in and stepping up. So you could be playing these guys. Question is, what sort of defense are we going to be playing next year? Are we going to have our defensive coordinator back?
Don't say it, Lauren. Don't say it.
No.
Part of me wants to say, the comments he's made in the last couple of weeks, saying that he's having so much fun here, he might actually just turn around and say, say, look, thank you, I've explored options, but I want to stay here. Jerry might open his checkbook.
I don't know, Lauren.
Redo the contract, but
I don't know, Lauren. But for the Dolphins, who just sacked a coach who was actually really good for the fit of the team, got rid of him, and they want to bring. And their organization, their GM's just an absolute freaking idiot who seems to be, they're getting rid of all the best players. It seems to be like the next Houston Texans by the looks of it. And then you've got the Jacksonville Jaguars, again, terrible organization, terrible management. If I was a head coach, I wouldn't want to go there. It's like, because for all you're pretty much one and done going to these teams.
Yeah.
Unless there's an actual brand new structural change within these organizations, but the organizations have not changed.
Yeah,
they're just trying to bring someone else in. Like it's like a feeding frenzy with these teams,
Yeah. DJ Dog is agreeing with you and saying Don't
honestly,
understand. Get him fired. Shaking my head.
Honestly, I cannot believe Brian Flores. Like, he will be the first coach to get picked up easily. Like, I think, like, there's talk about Chicago and there's talk about the Vikings. I'm no one going off on a tangent, but I think those two places will be the top destinations for Brian Flores.
Brian Flores, yeah. Like, before we kind of get into the defense, let's have a little chat about Dan Quinn. And one of the things that we did have said to us, or that was said during the game, was that Kellen Moore took a 2-hour interview with the Jaguars on Friday night, and Dan Quinn spent a lot of the previous week preparing him for that. So for me, that sounds like a guy who I don't think is leaving Dallas.
Yeah. Like,
so I can't see him leaving. I think a lot of people said Jerry will open the cash book to keep Kellen Moore around. I think there's more chance he'll open the checkbook to keep Dan Quinn around, because if we change from Dan Quinn, we're going on to a fourth defensive coordinator in 4 years. We had last year's draft, which was effectively an awful lot of what Dan Quinn likes in defenders, and you don't know what you're going to get. So I think Dan Quinn's staying around.
I think so. I would say Kellen Moore's probably the more question mark about the two of them, for sure. But I am tend to be on the agreement. I think we will still see both of them here. I think they're just doing the whole interviews just to say they're putting names in the hat, just to kind of make speculation, try and get other names that people don't consider and get them hired instead. Like, mind the whole scenario where it came to when we were looking for a new head coach. There was Lincoln Riley and all that stuff. That there was all that talk, but eventually we actually decided to go with Mike McCarthy. Which made sense. So,
now they'll both be back next year. Jerry won't let either of them go. He'll let them interview. That's just the process, and a lot of clubs in other sports are like it. If you don't let if you don't let staff interview elsewhere, they're not going to come to you because they know you're going to stick them in. It's just a natural process. They'll be back next year.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though, Jamie. Here's the thing, and I think this is what Jerry and Stephen are thinking right now. Is that if it's like they're happy of how the coaches are this year, they want to try and keep that relationship going. So if a team was to come over, offer Kellen Moore, say for example, I don't know what the wages are for NFL coaches or whatever not, but say for example they offer Kellen Moore $10 million to be the next NFL head coach for Jacksonville. So it's like, okay, well, we value more than that. We're going to give you a 11.5 just to be an offensive coordinator. Like, you know what I mean? Like I think that's what Jerry and Stephen are now in that situation. And there's no salary cap when it comes to coaches, so they can offer stupid amounts of money to keep these coaches here.
Yeah, like if you look at the guys who are going to be available for head coaching positions, obviously Brian Flores is going to be available. Joe Judge is going to be available. David Culley's available. There's talk Josh McDaniels is in the running for the Houston Texans role. So Eric Bieniemy has to somehow get a role this year.
Well, that's been discussed recently.
Yeah.
Greg
Roman has to get a head coaching job.
Eric Bellamy will be a head coach at some point.
Yeah. So you have names there that will get them. So I can see where Jamie's going in terms of Kellen Moore will be back. But Lauren, go on, jump in there.
I was going to say the other one that's been talked about, and again, he has history with Dallas as well, is Matt Eberflus, the defensive coordinator for the Colts. He's been linked to a few of the jobs as well.
And I think Mike Zimmer will get another job somewhere as well.
Maybe not as I don't think he'll be back as a head coach, though. I think he'll be more. Do you think so?
I think he might get back as a head coach, but if we were to lose one of our coordinators, I would not have a problem with Mike Zimmer being in Dallas.
Oh, absolutely.
That is something I was thinking that, if it if it happened that Quinn leaves, I would bring. I'm sure Jerry would actually be on the phone to Mike Zimmer straight away. And I think Mike Zimmer, much the same way as we've talked about Wade Phillips, we've said Dan Quinn certainly shown that he has the pedigree as a defensive coordinator. Maybe he doesn't have the capabilities to be a head coach, but Mike Zimmer's another one of these guys. I think if you brought him in as a defensive coordinator for any team, he would turn that team around. So I'd quite happily have Mike Zimmer back.
Yeah,
I'd be very surprised if Josh McDaniels got a head coaching job. He showed in Denver that he's not head coach material. Great offensive coordinator. He would if, like I say, Paul mentioned the Texans. He'd be back in New England within 2 years as offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
He's not head coach material for me.
Yeah.
But aren't the Eagles still paying for it?
Yeah. So, just a comment here from DJ Dog. The Colts are on the hook for Wentz's contract. No, they're not. The Eagles had to pay for it this year. Maybe next year the Colts will be on it, but they also don't have a first round pick, and that makes me laugh. Let's not forget that pick is nowhere near as valuable as the Eagles thought it was going to be halfway through this season. So there we go. And I can't believe I actually just said their name. I'm disgusted with myself. But throwing it back to actually talking about the defensive performance then on Saturday evening, Paul, name rolling through the screen. Neville Gallimore, 5 tackles, 2 tackles for a loss. He had a good game.
I am officially invested in getting my Neville Gallimore jersey now.
There we go.
That's now going to be my next official Dallas Cowboys jersey, is Neville Gallimore. Like,
yeah.
I think he's going to be an absolute stud in the years to come. Like, I really do. Like, I've never been so hyped up about a defensive tackle in my life until getting Neville Gallimore. Like, after watching this college film and stuff like that. So yeah. I can't really. I've been talking about I've been praising about him since he came to Dallas from the very get go, and it's not been the quickest progression from Gallimore, but the talent is there, and we are starting to see the glimpses of it.
To be fair to the player himself, Paul, I don't think it was ever a talent issue. I think it was just more that there was niggling injuries there that held him back the whole time. When he's been on the field, he has been productive. And
don't forget, I think last year's defensive scheme completely screwed him over, to be fair. So
screwed the whole defense over.
Yeah, so but under this year, he seems to be like under again, and this is more credit towards Dan Quinn and how and Adam Durd. Adam Durd's got him playing the way that we actually would recognize him from the way he played in college, and he's just been a disruptive force in the middle of the field. And it's really that we're not seeing what was our biggest problem last season was the running backs going through the middle of our defense. We're not seeing that. We're seeing that being more than halved now. More than half. Yeah. If anything, what our offenses are doing now is QB scrambles. That seems to be our Achilles heel now, is the QB scrambles.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at Tristan Hill as well, Tristan Hill,
yes,
he was on the outside looking in because he was obviously starting on the PUP list this year. When he got activated and before Gallimore came back as well, he came in with fire in his pants. Somebody letting up, all this talk about Gallimore and all that. The fire had been lit under Tristan Hill, and I mean, watching Tristan Hill chasing down Gardner Minshew, and he had a couple of tackles for loss as well in the game. He was in the backfield, being a force to be reckoned with. Tank was this defensive line.
Terrell Basham.
We talked this weekend, or we talked this off season about how this defensive line it was an unknown factor We had inklings of what Tristan Hill could have been. Could he come back from injury? We knew what Gallimore was once we'd got rid of the big fridge progress stopper that was. I'm not mentioning it, Paul. I'm not mentioning the progress stopper that was on the field last season for the first bit. We didn't know what we had. We didn't know how Carlos Watkins would fit. We didn't know how Brent Urban would fit in. And all of these guys, I mean, we've got decisions. You talk about the decisions we've got to make at receiver. You've got decisions to make at defensive tackle because Urban's free agent. Watkins is a free agent this year as well. Again, you're probably talking that we've only got Gallimore and we've got Tristan Hill for one more year. We've got lots of decisions. Yeah, you've got Golston coming up. You got Odigizua as well. This defense. Now, the one slight concern is that Philadelphia did seem to be rushing the ball against us this week. You could say that. You could say the lack of having Parsons there and relying on Keanu Neal, who I'm afraid has been a bit of a bust for us this season. We thought he'd be coming in and obviously knowing what Dan Quinn's scheme was, but Dan Quinn's scheme has changed. He was a 4-3 guy. It's been more 3-4 if anything this year. It hasn't fit Keanu Neal properly this year. But that we have had issues with the run defense at points. We have leaked a few long runs, and if any team is going to take advantage of that, it's a Shanahan team that we're going to be facing this weekend. So we hopefully the fact that Parsons is back, that stiffens it up a little bit. But the defense played adequately, and I mean, at no point once we got, I remember just before halftime, we were talking that we were going to go. Wow!
So I really wanted him to stay. Hold on, we need to verify that. Hold on a minute.
I was just waiting for Lauren to finish up because I had actually had two pieces of information. So Joe Judge is the first piece, and the second piece then is that the Broncos will have new owners this summer.
New owners.
That's been in the pipeline, on it.
That one.
Yeah. So what does that mean? Is like John Elway's gone or what?
John Elway is. I think he's even higher than GM at this stage. He's kind of a president or something like that. Yeah. But it will be a new ownership.
But the new ownership is still hiring though.
It's still the Boland family. Mostly. But obviously they were looking. They didn't have the same passion that Pat Boland, is it? I want to say
Pat Boland. That's it. Since the father died last year.
Yeah.
So change of ownership coming there. So it is breaking. Joe Judge Rappaport is reporting that.
I've just seen Adam Scheffner's tweet there. Yeah.
Damn it!
Damn!
There's one name that keeps flicking across the bottom.
Go on, Jamie. Bring it. Take it home.
There's one name that keeps flashing across the bottom, and I'm a little bit disappointed because nobody mentioned him, and these kind of the guys that help fill the roster. Luke Gifford, he's had a quietly pretty decent season when he come in. Wasn't expected to do a lot, but he had a fairly good game on the weekend, and he's been steady all year. And those are the kind of the guys you want on a roster that take advantage of the snaps.
Andy is coming back with the Savage comment.
I'll double down on Andy. They still got Kenny Golladay for $17 million.
They still got Saquon Barkley.
Well, but Barkley's still a good player. In all fairness, he's still a good player.
And they've been that bad this year.
When you pay pretty much a third string wide receiver, pretty much from the Detroit Lions, to play as a number one wide receiver, it's not going to happen. So, sucks to be the Giants.
And it shows how bad they are when they pick up a not wanted linebacker.
Oh God! Like,
Jamie, don't.
Keep
talking about Luke Gifford, Jamie. Keep talking about Luke.
You know what I'm seeing from all that, from all the other rivals in our division, like from Eagles and the
copycats,
the Washington Copycats. It's like we would rather to see Matt Nagy be the new coach rather than Brian Flores. That I actually agree with. I don't want Brian Flores. I don't want Brian to go to New York.
Do you know what? I'm extremely surprised that George wasn't the first coach sacked this year. He was that part.
Yeah.
Well, if you actually, I follow Annie Agar on Twitter. She produces a weekly video, which is like talking about teams having meetings over Zoom, and this week's one is absolute fire. I tell you to go and watch that because it's fantastic this week. I've retweeted it already today.
Yeah.
So go and follow my Twitter page and you'll see it there. So
So Andy just bringing up a point here. Carlos Basham is another man or Terrell Basham, sorry, who deserves a bit of praise from the weekend in terms of. The numbers are just rolling through. I think he had 4 tackles. Sorry, it's coming through now in a second. I think it's 3 tackles at the sack. He had 2 tackles for loss and 2 quarterback hits. That for a guy who's your 4th, maybe 5th defensive end, that's amazing numbers.
Brian, do me a favor. Bring I was talking about Kenny Golladay just to be sitting there. Bring this next comment up, please.
Oh, absolutely, yes. Well, Paul, you've just. Oh no, I actually deleted it. Hold on.
What?
You keep talking there, gentlemen.
Oh no, I'm just happy with that comment there. Like, yeah, like it's true. Like it's, and this just comes to show how our defense is that freaking good right now. But it just also shows the disarray of our rivals right now. Like the Giants, as you just saw there, they just fired the head coach. David Gettleman. Well, he's retired. I do not believe that for a second. He's been fired, but he was just given the option to retire. So, and obviously what happened with Jason Garrett, like what not unfortunate, but fortunate that you know what I mean. These like former Cowboy, don't want to see him be out of a job and whatever. No. But you know what I mean. But the fact is, it's like the Giants are just they're just an absolute bombshell. It's now becoming more, but there should be, and now there's the whole situation with they're getting sued by the state of New York. Did you hear about that story? Dame and the Jets. Did you not hear about this?
Yes.
Right. So get ready for this, Brian. Get ready for this, Jamie. Get ready for this, everybody. So it turns out that because they're not technically in New York, they're in New Jersey, right? So the state of New York are filing for a lawsuit against the both organizations for I think $6 billion. $6 billion or something like that. It's a lot of money. It's like,
not surprised.
So I'm just so what they're going to be, the Jersey Giants, the Jersey Jets. So so they may have to rechange their official location because they're not technically in New York. So
I think it's the Giants and the Jets are actually based in New Jersey, and the Buffalo Bills are based in New York.
The Buffalo
State.
Bills, the only team is in the state of New York. It's only in Buffalo, and they're like well up north as well.
Yeah. So that's
it around everywhere though, couldn't you? Because if we play a game with technically the Cowboys are not in Dallas, if you look at it really.
Dallas Fort Worth Metroplex, they are in Dallas.
No, they're in Arlington, aren't they? They're not.
If you consider the international airport, we technically are.
Yeah, it's
but
the international airport. Yeah. I mean, look, Jamie, you should know Leeds Bradford Airport.
But the thing is, though, Jamie, it's a different state. It's not like you're in.
Oh yeah. No, you know what I mean. It's all. They won't win that.
It's like for example, obviously here in the UK, we don't go by states. We're by sovereign state. We're sovereign states like Scotland, England, Wales. So, say for example, we had a team in Newcastle, but they were regarded as the Scottish Claymores. But they're not in Scotland. If that makes sense. So it kind of, or for example, like there's the Belfast. I don't know Belfast Knights, but they're situated in Liverpool, in England. Like,
well,
the best one is just to kind of throw it off is
cheers, my dear. Like my friend Brianna just clarified that for me.
That's the Star.
It's the Star.
Yeah.
That is the training facility, though, my dear.
I'll actually remind you of one. I don't know if you'll actually remember this one, but do you remember when Wimbledon used to play in the Premier League?
Yes, when they had John Fashion and all that.
In the late 90s, there were discussions about Wimbledon relocating to Dublin, which is in the Republic of Ireland, where I live, and still being allowed to play in the Premier League in England. So that's more what you're talking about when you be saying, about the Giants and Jets playing
the best one is the best one is Chester City. their stadium is actually in 2 countries.
That's right.
It's in Wales and it's in England. It goes across the border.
Yeah. There we go.
I know we've now become we're no longer the Cowboys talking channel right now. We're talking about National Geographic here.
Yeah, but before we do get off the defense, is there anything else you gentlemen would like to talk about, or would you like to flip it over to special teams?
No, let's just go straight to special teams because I think we're plenty talking about on that before we finish up. Before Mike kills us for the game.
So, look, we'll flip it over, and I'll just bring up the stats. And Paul, you didn't notice my Trayvon Diggs has intercepted the segment rolling across the bottom. But if you look at it once more, as we said, Greg Zerline 1 from 1 on his field goals from 48, and he was 6 of 7 on his extra points. Brian Anger 1 punt, 44 yards. I think we all know where this discussion is going, so one of you take it away.
Kickers who miss field goals need fucking booting to the moon.
Well, that's a lot more harsher. What I was going to say, you brought in Kai Forbath back into the practice squad, a guy that was robust, a guy that actually helped save us in so many scenarios last season.
Mm-hmm.
No, was it last season? Or was it 2 years?
Yeah, no, last season.
Last season,
he went 10 for...
No, it was last season. Year, but no, because Zerline was on the squad last year.
It was 2 years. It was 2 years ago.
Yeah, sorry. Apologies.
It was
and he went 10 for 10.
It was the Brett Maher situation.
Yeah.
So Kai Forbath actually salvages that year 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you know what, man? Like, if he's still doing it, I would put him well ahead of Greg Delayed right now, the way how things are going right now.
What? I can't remember his name, but what about the guy we brought in from the CFL? He did pretty well that game he came in. Why not bring him back?
He's with Carolina.
He got picked up, and there's no surprise. He was pretty decent.
I'll just shut up and sit in corner. Sorry.
That's all right, dude.
Yeah. But, I mean, once again, we're going into the playoffs. We have a doubt over our kicker.
Yeah, and Lloyd just kind of is backing up
Yes,
what we're
Lloyd.
kind of saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah, I mean, if you think those two games now, it might have changed the way our opponents finished off the games, but those two games, we could have been sitting at home this weekend. The Packers could have been lamenting their loss to the Lions. You know,
and there's the other thing as well. So like Greg's on a massive contract for a kicker. I really
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
like there was the option. There was the whole kicker battle that we had between Forbath during preseason, not preseason, during training camp, and obviously we picked Greg because of he's John Fassel's boy pretty much.
Yeah.
That's the main reason why we kept him. But it's kind of shown that Greg is not as efficient that we kind of hoped out that he would have been. Yeah, like when it comes to the longest field goals, yeah, he's been great. But when it comes to the smaller field goals, the ones that it's like it should be a walk in the park, literally just tapping it and putting it over the bar. Nah, it's just not happening.
I'm going to send us all home very happy. How about in the Super Bowl in Dallas, Greg the leg from 60 yards, field goal, and we win the Super Bowl? We'll all be forgiven.
No, it won't all will be forgiven. I'll give him a big, massive bonus, but I'll say goodbye, and that's it. Well, but you know what I mean? But but I know where you were kind of going with that. But it's funny that you mentioned the Super Bowl could be in Dallas because the whole scenario with what's happening in California right now. So who knows? It could be a Super Bowl in Dallas. We don't know. The venue could change, but like you said, in that scenario, I'd still not like. I would thank Greg for winning the Super Bowl, but I wouldn't consider him a legend for winning it or anything like that. Like he did his job, but I'm sorry. I'm getting too. I just think there's other kickers out there that can do a more efficient job out there right now.
And Andy is making a nice point here. He made the overtime kick which sent the Rams to the Super Bowl.
You're really making it harder for me now to really dispute this.
He's built for the big moment, Paul. And let's not forget.
Well, that's the thing.
The extra point he missed was in an outdoor stadium.
But that's the problem, though, Brian. That's the problem with Greg. It's like when the things that don't necessarily matter, but it actually ends up being the bigger matter. That's when he fails. It's like the extra points, the smaller field goals. Oh, yeah, we'll make that back by another touchdown. Yeah, we'll do this. Yeah, we'll run the goddamn ball or whatever on that. But no, it seems to be the difference is we're within 3 points of a difference or 1 point of a difference within the game. And it's because Greg the leg missed the field goal, you know?
Yeah. And that's look, that is totally fair. But look, we're an hour and 45 minutes into this show, and Mike is going to kill us all. So we're going to wrap it up. So, Paul, I'm going to get you to give the usual shout out to Barry and the crew at Cowboys Experience.
Yes, guys. If you're planning going to a Dallas Cowboys game this year, we've actually had a couple of inquiries for the San Francisco game already. So we already told them to go and check out Cowboys Experience, where Barry and Michael will definitely help you out with regards to game day packages and hotels and whatever on that. As they'll try and make your experience as the best it can be. Be sure to go and check them out for the ultimate meet and greet, tailgating, and also game day packages, like I just mentioned. But also be sure to use the discount code UK Cowboys because you guys, what do you get?
You get free stuff.
Free.
So
chocolate.
And you get on chocolate pudding. And Lauren or Jamie, make sure you give a shout out to our content creators and friends.
Yeah, I mean, I listen to lots of podcasts every day, build up my knowledge. I listen to all the Cowboys ones. So you've got Hanging with the Boys, The Break, Talking Cowboys, Mix Shots. I also listen to Hanging with the Boys, Blogging the Boys. I try and pick up some of KT Funhouse. Neil Reynolds' podcast, Coffee with the Coach. All of these, anything that you can glean from these, will help your knowledge, help form your opinions. Think of things different to how you would actually go into each of these as well. And it just makes you think about things a little bit better.
Yeah, like I will say this though, it's like don't listen to your Stephen A's or your Shannon Sharps. Like they're just there for clickbait. They don't really talk about the proper in depth of the actual team itself. They just basically dip in and dip out. So if you really want your proper Cowboys content, go with actual Cowboys content creators, as you can see on the screen.
Yeah, and as we said, the likes of Big Game James, who was on with us there last Thursday to preview the game, Cowboys Life, Jay Tuck, Marcus, and Lone Nation, Bluff City Cowboy. All of those people are worth a watch. Make sure you tune in and listen to those. But as we say, we're now 47 minutes in at this stage, and we are going to wrap up. So, gentlemen, it is a good night from me. And see you Thursday for the preview show.
Yep, I'm going to say I think this is the longest show we've ever done. So yeah, I will finish off.
We've done a 2-hour one.
Oh, we have it. Oh no, we're the draft show.
We've done a 24-hour one as well.
I'm a daddy. I'm an absolute daddy. Right, well, that's definitely home time for me. I'm off to go and get drunk. I'll see you later.
Peace out. Have a good rest of the week,
guys.
We're all on the weekend.
All right. Good night, folks. Make sure you tune in 9 o'clock for Mike and the team for the preview show. Good night.